Good evening. I want to start off with the first question being, what is the special education teacher's job? The special education teacher's job is to support students in their learning by individualizing their lesson plans, by doing formative assessments, through observations, through conversations with parents and general ed if they use general education for any push-in, any other parts of the SPED team that they might work with, to making sure that we are getting the right lesson plans set for them, collaborating and using our ethics because we need to be ethical at all times in working with children and other adults in the school system. We need to collaborate with everyone on the SPED team, from our paraprofessionals to principals, to the psychology team, to general education if there's push-in services available to the student, to the SLPs in the speech department, any other departments that might come in contact with our students that we need to work with. So we need to collaborate to make sure that we are assessing the child and giving the child the best individualized learning, and making sure that we are abiding by IEPs and accommodations are being used. The the way we advance our profession is by learning all we can, taking PD, by taking additional classes, by furthering our education and getting our masters, extra masters, PhDs, in our field of choice. The dispositions I currently hold are advocacy and compassion, as I myself have a child. Well, all three of my children have IEPs, but my middle child, we've been working with her to get the proper diagnosis and to help her with her IEP. I've had multiple meetings over the last couple of years to get her tested, assessed, figure out, we've had her diagnosed with ADHD. She has precipitatory sensory processing disorder, which she's had since she was little. She's had OT. She has speech currently. She has multitude of accommodations in her IEP, and I've already called a meeting for like next month to finally do some more in-depth testing, because me and the SPED team can't decide if we are looking at a learning disability or if it's something else. So we are back at the drawing table trying to figure it out, because she is now 2 full grades behind in her reading and her comprehension. So advocacy is something I've been dealing with for over 10 years. My oldest was on an IEP. He had a medical 504. He just graduated his IEP about 2 years ago for the most part. We do still have the medical 504 in place for him. And my youngest just graduated her IEP, I don't know, just a few months ago. She was on a speech IEP. Dispositions that I need to work on a reflection. I tend to be the type that just goes, and doesn't tend to do much reflecting on the situations, and thinking back and what worked and what didn't work. I tend to just kind of keep going and learning to adapt when I need to. I had the highest turnover in my preschool classroom over the last year because I was the one teacher who took in as many special education students as I could, and transferred them over to different services, whether that was therapy services or special education district classes, getting parents to understand and accept their kids' diagnosis, get parents to finally accept help for their children, because many parents are in such denial. And I literally transferred out 14 students last year, who were special needs, who the parents were in denial or the parents didn't want to hear it, who finally got help. I currently have 2, 3, 4 in my current classroom out of 15 right now. I will have 20 students, but right now that's where I'm at. So I do need to work on my reflections on, looking back on what's working, what's not working, what I could change, what I could do better, because I kind of just go with the flow and just keep going, and just kind of changing on the rapid, because I don't have time. I'm a mother of 3. I'm a full-time student and a full-time teacher. So reflection is something I do need to work on. As far as biases go, I feel that biases can be anything from, you look at a child and you're like, oh, they're this, so they must not do this, or they must not be able to do that, or they have a diagnosis of this, that they're not worthy of these type of lessons because they'll never understand these type of lessons. Biases are things that we need to completely cut out of our way of life and our brains, especially as teachers, because our job is to be as ethical as possible and to advance our career and to advance these students. And there is no place for biases when it comes to our students. So we have to unlearn the stuff that we learned from our parents and our grandparents and learn what is correct, and to be constantly open-minded and aware of what needs to change. Biases can even affect how we treat a family or how we treat a student. You could have a student family come in and, you have trauma from some type of event. And so now everyone in that group now becomes categorized as, not good people in your brain. And it's having to unlearn that, because you can't judge a whole group by one or two actions. You can't look at a student and say they're level 3 autistic, so they'll never learn this, or they can never learn that, or whatever the situation is. We have to have no biases when it comes to our students and the families that we work with and our colleagues, because we have to be able to collaborate and work together and do everything in our power to serve these children and to better their lives. Because at the end of the day, what matters is that they are the future, and every child can learn, every child can be successful. We have to learn their triggers. We have to learn what is their way of learning, whether they're visual, audio, tactile, whatever their learning process is. And we have to remember to be at their level, because we can't try to teach them where they aren't. Because if they're not there, they can't understand. So it's just learning to unlearn bad habits and bad thought processes that were trained into us, and to be open-minded and relearn everything, and to step back and just be a teacher and help these students succeed. Thank you.